Welcome to Sit Downs with City Lifestyle, Vegas Edition podcast. My name is Chrissy Bound, publisher for Henderson City Lifestyle, joined with my counterpart,
Camila Soleil Ray with Red Rock in South Vegas. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to the podcast. We are thrilled to have our guest with us today. Her name is Jaymie Hampson. She is the general manager of Fletcher Jones, Nevada. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Another powerful woman at our table, Chrissy.
I know. We have a table of heavy hitters.
Yes,
I'm so
we do.
excited. I'm so excited.
Me too.
So, Jaymie, we have to know, you oversee two dealerships here in town, and a lot of people don't know that they're connected. So tell us about the two dealerships.
Sure. So Fletcher Jones has been a Mercedes dealer in this area for 55 years.
Wow.
And the dealership on Sahara, Fletcher Jones Imports, was the original Mercedes dealership. Not at that location, but that dealership was the original. And then Mercedes-Benz of Henderson is the other dealership that the Fletcher Jones organization has. So we have Mercedes and Sprinter, and then we also have a pre-owned lot on adjacent to the Sahara location.
Yeah, Sahara has like 3 buildings or 3 locations that you guys operate off, right?
We do. So we have the 7300 Sahara is the Mercedes-Benz flagship store.
Yeah.
And then 7100 Sahara is the pre-owned. Okay. So we have those two. And then we have the Sprinter service facility down the road. So yeah, we have a good presence there.
Yeah.
55 years is such an incredible accomplishment here in Southern Nevada, too. That's a long time to be doing business here in town.
Yeah, they're here to stay. They're I mean, obviously a part of the community. And being a part of the community, you guys are involved in some of the, great organizations and nonprofits that we have. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, I think it's always been important to the family and the employees to make sure that, we were doing things that are important to us, but also have a good representation. That's not all just about golf and sports, but, arts and, it's pretty, arts and a lot of philanthropy work. We do things with, anywhere from Opportunity Village to, some of the schools. We definitely have presence in women's initiatives. So, we try to have a diverse, good footprint. So we are doing business with people that actually get to know us.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think that's very important for our local community here is they want to support businesses that support the community. And as you joined City Lifestyle's family in the beginning of the year, because you are also new to Las Vegas, this is our promise to you and our commitment to the community, actually, is to also align ourselves with businesses that are super deeply involved in the community and want to help, grow stronger together. So very happy to have you with us.
Thank you. It's been great. It's been great.
Well, new to Las Vegas, but not new to the automotive industry.
Right.
So, I'm just so curious. What drew you? I mean, the automotive industry has predominantly been a very male-dominated industry. What made you decide to jump into automotive?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say that I had this love of cars and always wanted to work at a dealership, but I needed a job going into college. And so I answered an ad to answer the phone. I was a receptionist at a dealership in Oregon where I grew up. And, certainly went in thinking that it was going to be a job during school or maybe a summer job. But here I am all these years later, just never left. I think for me, it's a lot of little businesses within a business. And so it was certainly one of those situations where, I was finishing college and I thought I was going to go get my real job. And as I was looking around, I was like, I kind of like what I'm doing. And there was a lot of opportunity to from marketing to finance to sales to, repair. So here I am and so grateful that, I stumbled across that ad of being a receptionist all those years, but it's been a great career.
It seems like the perfect fit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a people business.
Yeah,
I think anything that, and it's exciting. It's never the same day. I think that's important. The people that I've been able to work with and get to know, I think there's a lot of people that don't recognize that we don't just sell cars and we don't just service cars, but we have 300 people in this community that work with us here locally.
That's amazing.
So it's been, like I shared, it's been a great, I don't know if it was a choice necessarily at the time, but it turned out to be exactly what I was supposed to do. So.
Yeah. You were looking for the perfect job and it was right in front of you when you were graduating. So, and you've kind of done everything within the dealership now too.
Yeah, I have. I mean, so I started on the parts and service side, which, I think for me, I was working with the technicians and a lot of, a lot of transactions in that area, and definitely didn't really see myself going into the other areas of the business, but was able to. So I am appreciative that I kind of came up through the way I did. I think a lot of general managers specifically have sold cars, went to sales management, and then become a general manager. And I also, did those jobs, but I had the opportunity to work in some of the other areas of the dealership. So I feel like I can relate to some of the things that maybe, I lived it. So
Yeah, you were in that world.
Yeah, but yes, so definitely, I get asked a lot. It's, there's not a lot of women in the business, and then that's true. But I've also worked around some great men as mentors, and so I feel like I owe it to other women to be vocal about why I like to do what I do, and certainly help and mentor people to at least consider it. But I wouldn't be here without a bunch of great men that helped me along the way.
Ditto.
Yeah, and we don't live a war, right? In the professional field, right? Some
all hand in
women,
hand here.
but some of the narrative is, oh, the men, oh, the women, like we're separate. There's so much that we can learn from one another.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? There doesn't have to be each one in, the
totally
other
agree.
lane. Yeah. And Jaymie is a powerhouse, and I love working with women. And, she's also here to teach us how to be better leaders because, in your position, that's what you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, in anybody's, career, you kind of have to figure out if you want to lead people. And, it's not, I had bumps along the way, but, I certainly, one of the most rewarding things is to be able to help people get to the places that they want to be. And certainly I've appreciated getting to have, be along with that journey with certain people for sure.
Yeah, it can be super rewarding just to watch them grow, and that's your win. That's the biggest difference. It goes from being your own personal win to watching other people that you've helped and taught along the way, which is awesome. Yeah. So, Mercedes has a reputation for excellence, and everyone is so welcoming whenever we walk into either of the dealerships. So what do you think are some of the biggest factors that set your dealerships apart from others here in town?
I think, some of the just the history of, we have people that have worked at the dealership for well over 40 years.
I met someone last night who'd been there for 20 years. Yeah. It's crazy.
And I do think that is, remarkable that people have chose to stay at one location for that many years. So, I think the dealership even prior to my arrival has really made it a point to get to know clients and people who are considering us to do business. And it should feel a certain way when you come in. It's a big building and it's, kind of could be
so nice.
Feel like a museum a little bit, but it's, we try to make sure it's warm. People have a lot of choices, and, it's up to us to, if someone's choosing to walk through that door, it's kind of, it's up to us not to screw it up, basically.
Yeah, because it can be intimidating to go into a Mercedes-Benz dealership, right?
Yeah. I think there's, we want to make sure that we have that luxury, accommodating experience, but yet we also want to come across genuine and, really get to know the individuals and make sure we know their needs, not make assumptions. And I think that the staff have, created this environment that, hopefully people feel comfortable just coming in, and we have a lot of people that come in and just get coffee and hang out. So
that's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and have you seen the luxury automotive industry change since COVID? There's been a lot of changes in every different industry. So I'm just curious, have you seen that market change at all in the luxury auto industry?
Yeah, I don't know if COVID is necessarily like this huge pivot. Nobody had inventory at that time, and so it was just a different way of doing business. But I think that, with Mercedes-Benz, the electric vehicle was a big part of the business plan, and we're kind of tapering off a little bit. So I think our adjustment specifically with Mercedes is, getting back out there with hybrid options and letting people understand the advantages of ICE vehicles again. But
ICE vehicles? What are those? Please educate me.
Hey, I'm sure there's going to be somebody who's listening or watching who's wondering
Girl,
the same
we have
thing.
almost 10,000
I
viewers.
know.
You think one
No,
person?
There's
No.
going to be plenty of people that are
And I have
wondering
no
Come on.
blood. I have no problem saying, please educate me.
Yeah, just prior to EV, just
Yeah.
the normal.
Oh, okay, gasoline.
Yeah,
Okay.
the car. Yeah, a lot of acronyms and things
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
industry, but yeah. So I mean, I think it's just that to coming out of leases right now, we don't have the number of electric vehicles that we did prior to COVID, and so that's an area of opportunity for us right now.
That's strategic then.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the automotive, the OEMs are certainly, we're all in on EV, and now it doesn't feel as if, a lot of the tax credits have gone away. We certainly have seen a pivot from just customer demand in that. Doesn't mean that they're not great
really?
vehicles.
Wow.
And there's going to be a segment that's, going to be offered and still available, but I think that the portfolio is going to be a lot more diverse.
Yep.
We have a lot of models coming out in the next handful of years, which is
I'm
exciting.
very excited.
Oh, my God.
I own a Mercedes now, and I'm very excited to see what's coming because mine's getting to that point. But I have to say, my car is 10 years old. It runs amazingly well, and I get incredible gas mileage on my car. And it's not a hybrid or an EV. It's a traditional, regular, as you would call it, ICE, right?
I was going to challenge you to say the acronym.
But it runs like a dream. But it is very tempting because I'm getting ready to get a new one, and every time I walk into the dealership, I'm like, this is really nice, But trying to decide which one to get is hard because there's so many beautiful cars.
Yeah.
There are. I think, one of the things I have had the opportunity to work with a lot of different brands, other luxury brands. And I think with Mercedes, you certainly see where they plan for longevity and durability. So it's not just a fit and finish that's going to look nice for 2 years.
Yeah.
Or it's not going to, the vehicle's not going to be quiet for 2 years and then all of a sudden start, rattling away. So I do think that does set us apart from some of the other luxury brands. Is it's we're in it for the long haul. To your point, 10 years is
great.
There's a lot of clients that come in and they've had they're on their second or third, but this one they've been in 8 years.
Yeah,
and so I think that is something that Mercedes-Benz does a good job is ensuring that quality is there, as well as they focus a lot on safety. And it's not just about, heaven help you if you get in an accident, but it's kind of all the things that are going into technology to make sure that the vehicle is smart. So it's preventing an accident to happen. I mean, here, like we talked, I moved here about a year ago, and the traffic and the accidents and
the worst drivers in the world are in Las Vegas.
Well, and I think it's something that you really need to be thoughtful of is when you're putting your kid in the car or it's just a matter of the safety.
Sturdy.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny you say that because I actually had a friend of mine who owned a Mercedes before me, and they were in an accident and the car was totaled, but they walked away without a scratch, unscathed, and the airbags and everything obviously protected them, but. And it was a smaller car. It wasn't an SUV. It was a car, and they were hit by a big truck. And I just remember thinking, like, man, that car really took a hit from this big truck, and the sturdiness of the Mercedes, literally walked away without a scratch. And so I was thinking when it was time to get our car, because of how I'm in the car all the time for our jobs, right? And that sturdiness of the vehicle, I feel that when I'm driving. I just feel safe in that car, which I love.
You shouldn't because of your driving.
My driving's terrible. My driving is terrible. I admit it. But I feel safe in my car. And I have to say, that thing zips, too. It zips around fast. It's the driving machine, right? And it feels like that when you're driving around on the highway.
I like to tease you when you're driving.
Well, listen, I will never for once pretend that I am a good driver. I'm a terrible driver. But that's also why I need a safe car that feels sturdy. So anyway, but I love it. So
do you have a favorite? Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask if you have a favorite model.
I don't have I'm more of a SUV kind of truck person personally. Maybe it's just, I'm still with a 14-year-old and a dog. And so I need the bigger space, but I don't have a favorite. I can't say I have a favorite.
Yeah.
I certainly have appreciated, I'm driving an electric vehicle right now. And I love the torque. It's zippy, like you said. I mean, and I love not having to go to the gas station.
I know.
All those things.
Yeah.
So,
So nice. So what are you most excited about for what's ahead for Mercedes? You mentioned some of the new vehicles. Is there anything else in particular that you're really excited for looking ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I will touch base on the new models coming out. It's been a while since we've had, this kind of, volume of new vehicles. So we're going to see some things that's not just a facelift on the car. There's going to be some affordable options of some of the models that, potentially from a price point perspective are going to, cater to a little bit more of the mass audience. I think, not to talk too much about pricing, but when you look where you are, regardless of the brand, I think we have missed the boat a little bit on being competitive in some segments, and I think we're all looking forward to kind of having that full array of we have something for everyone. So I know that there's been a lot of attention to that. I also think the service side of the industry, one of the things that we at the dealership really focus on is making sure that after that vehicle leaves after the purchase, that's really when the experience starts. And, that's where the relationships with our service team and, you need us at that point. Everybody's happy when they're here to get a car.
Yeah, for sure.
When something's going on. So, the quality of the Mercedes-Benz brand is something that, we are constantly working with one of our shop foreman at the Sahara store is on one of the boards for the entire brand.
Wow.
And so it just kind of tells you the caliber of individuals that we have here locally.
Yeah.
That, he's nationally,
awesome.
influencing some of those decisions. And we just have a really tenured technical team that is in the know early and very knowledgeable. And so I think that is an advantage for us, not only locally, but with our brand. There's a lot of attention to that right now.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you guys host some fun events there too. You guys did a Pilates event at the Mercedes one recently too.
Yes. I mean, I think, like I shared, we're trying to make sure that we are involved with a lot of diversity. And, we were approached, actually one of our sales representatives, Vanessa out at Mercedes-Benz of Henderson, is very involved with, wellness and influencers. And so we've tried to make sure that those that work with us are like, hey, what are you interested in? What are the things that you want to introduce us to and bring people in? And so she initially introduced the idea, and I was like, oh, Pilates on the showroom floor, why not? But
I love it. I think it's great.
I think you hit it earlier. We're just trying to make sure that people in the community know who we are and vice versa. So things like that are, maybe a little different. Maybe people wouldn't associate a car dealership doing that.
Totally different.
But, we want to do more of that.
I love it. Well, you have to keep us posted as these events are coming up. And, you have a full plate. You have 2 kids. You're a mom. You're managing 2 dealerships, a dog mom, and you're overseeing both of these dealerships. Like, if you had to give a piece of advice to somebody who is wanting to follow in your path, what would you say?
Oh, gosh. I think I'm very, there's so many stories like Jaymie Hampson's story, where...
Not really.
I think we're all busy.
Yeah.
And I think that, certainly as I've hopefully matured, I recognize that you can't do it all, and that's okay. And
as women, we do tend to want to do it all. Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's a balance there.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm sure in all of our lives, there's times where we don't manage that well. But for me, I think my family is a huge priority. My friends are a huge priority. My health, those are things. And then I have a job, and I enjoy what I do. And so, it's not Disneyland. I don't enjoy every day, but I try to make sure that I'm not putting too much time and or effort in any one of those. And so I also think that, I'm a curious person at nature. So I like change. And I think that if I didn't like change, or if someone didn't like that change, this might not be the right fit for them.
Right.
So I think the other piece is, my kids are a little bit, I have our daughter's in college now, and we've got a high schooler. So I'm at a point in life where they're busy too. And so I don't feel kind of the pull of, am I missing out on certain things, because I'm at a good place. I've got a super supportive husband that you know, I could not do what I do without him. You know, he knows when I need wine and French fries at night on those days. You know, he gets it.
That's a good husband right there.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah. And so you came from Colorado.
I did.
Right. And did you choose Vegas? And is there a vision that you have for Mercedes here? I don't know if that's kind of what you asked before, but is there a vision, like the changes that you want to make?
Yeah. Well, okay. So why I chose Las Vegas, there's a couple reasons. You know, I'm from the West Coast. My parents and siblings live in Oregon, so I wanted to stay on this side of the country. I chose Fletcher Jones as the organization that most aligned with me. So, you know, Fletcher, Keith May, the president, they're individuals that I have known for quite some time, and just knowing kind of the family and the way that they operate, I knew it was a good fit for me. So that was a part of the decision making of narrowing things down. As far as Vegas, what I feel like people don't recognize that haven't lived here, haven't been here, is I've been so pleasantly surprised by the community feel.
Yes.
I
love that.
I don't think there's a lot of cities that, you know, I genuinely am going to run into people, and, you know, it has a little bit of those small town pocket feels.
Totally.
And there's probably some good and bad with that in some, but I actually thrive in that environment. And, you know, I want people to, I want to be involved with the community. And I think that sometimes we get too caught up in, I don't know, I've lived in other cities that haven't felt like this. And so I certainly think that it's up to us to make sure we keep it that way as well. So I'm not from here, but people have been very welcoming.
Yeah.
I think that the city has a lot to offer outside of what people from the outside see, right? And
all they see is a strip, really,
Yeah.
and Fremont and gambling, right? But for the locals here, it's like you said, as long as you show up, there's going to be a community that supports you, right? It's a collaborative endeavor living here. And just like you, I'm not from here. Chrissy's been here longer than both of us together. But yeah, I mean, I fell in love with the town because of the community.
Yeah, I mean, and make no mistake, you can find something to do any night of the week, and I think that is, you know, you know, moving here with a kid getting ready to go into high school, like that could have been a hit or miss, right? You know,
Yeah.
And so, you know, he's hit the ground running, and, you know, just the school that we chose, I mean, everything's just been really, really easy. And
I love that.
So I think that
shows
says a lot.
Yeah, it was meant to be. That's what it shows. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me happy to hear that too. Because I have been here for 22 years, and we all had the same feeling regardless of when we moved here. And it's that sense of community that drew us in. That's our favorite part of what we do as publishers, is being able to be storytellers for our community and give people opportunities to jump in and participate. And I think that, you know, even with some of the stuff you guys are doing, like the Pilates on the showroom floor and like participating in these community things, like, you know, you guys are really taking ownership of giving people opportunities to dive into, which I think is awesome. And, you know, as we wrap up here, if there was one thing that you'd want people to know about Fletcher Jones, Nevada, what would it be?
I think it's one of those, you know, a dealership can be daunting, and I think it can be intimidating at times. And I want people to know that we want to partner and at least be considered. We want to be part of that decision-making process. And, you know, I think we're just people that, you know, love what we do, work with a great brand, have, you know, access to information, and just want to be part of that process. And we also aren't going to just treat it like a transaction. I think that the experience is incredibly important to the organization, and certainly to those of us here in Southern Nevada.
I love it.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think mic drop right there. There's nothing else to say, so let's wrap it up, Chrissy.
Yeah. And how can people find you?
Yeah, so we are Fletcher Jones, Nevada.com, or you can go to Mercedes-Benz of Henderson, and then Fletcher Jones Imports.
So no matter what side of town you're on, they've got you guys covered.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. We know how busy you are, and we really appreciate it. If people want to find you, how can they find you?
So we're at Fletcher Jones, Nevada, or Mercedes-Benz of Henderson, and Fletcher Jones Imports. So you have lots of options to find us.
So whatever side of town people are coming from, there is one close by.
Yes.
Or social media. And guess where they can find them too? City Lifestyle! Yeah!
So funny. Well, thank you all for watching or listening, however you tuned in with us today. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you guys next time.
And share this episode, like, and subscribe. Remember, we're counting on you.